going on, everybody? Welcome to Reel It Back, the review show that brings you all the latest movie releases. I'm your host, David Danger Neff, and with me is my guy,
Jay Alonso here. What's going on, good people? And we are here today to talk about The Equalizer 2, starring once again Denzel Washington, Melissa Leo, and Pedro Pascal. Denzel's back as the middle-aged badass we all know and love. This time around, he's out for revenge after one of his good friends is killed.
Director Antoine Fuqua decides to bring back Robert McCall after the success of the first one. This is Denzel's first sequel.
The first sequel in Denzel's entire career. And I gotta tell you, I love the first Equalizer movie. He worked at something like a Home Depot. It's called Home Mart. But we won't talk about that. But in this one, he's now a Lyft driver. And he's still kicking ass and taking names. I feel like with this movie, Denzel has now traded in being that secret assassin with a special set of skills. So now he's a full-blown superhero.
Right. You know, he would go around parading as this Lyft driver and basically solves every single situation that he could come across. It was a little discouraging not to kind of see him in really any true form of danger, as we happen to see, especially because he's middle-aged. Even Liam Neeson in the Taken movies did have moments where it wasn't looking so great for him.
Yeah, in this movie, it seems as if any danger that did cross Denzel's path, he would meet it with open arms and pretty much kill it.
Now, one of the things I absolutely like about this movie is the action pieces.
The action is great.
Fuqua just knows how to capture Denzel in his absolute best light and make him look so devastating to the entire process. I felt there was 5 different subplots that were going on in the film. I felt like it would have just been better if this would have turned into a TV show itself, sign a Netflix deal, and turn this into an 8-episode anthology episode about Robert McCall. That being said, though, the action was absolutely fantastic, and I did really like the pieces of when Denzel decided to kind of play this pseudo-father character for the young community that was around him.
I have to give a major shout-out to Ashton Sanders. For those who don't know Ashton, he was in Moonlight that won the Best Picture Oscar.
That's right.
At this point, kills it in this role. Works very well opposite Denzel Washington. Also, Melissa Leo, a joy to watch on screen. Even though it's a brief moment that she's actually in the movie, but she still to show what she's actually doing her thing. Bill Pullman, he's barely in it, but he's in it, ready to do his thing. Pedro Pascal, he needs to be doing more stuff. This guy's an awesome actor.
I think with Pedro, it's an issue of right now he's kind of in this colorized like villain role, and I don't think that's how everybody should kind of see him. For those Game of Thrones fans who know him as Oberyn, he just kind of plays as a very generic character here, whereas with Oberyn he was at least charming. People could see what they really like about him. In the future, he definitely needs to take more roles that leads to that hero format. What were some of the things that you didn't really care for in this movie?
Well, the first thing about this movie that I'm going to throw out immediately is that this movie suffers from sequelitis. Obviously, with this being a sequel, a bigger budget, they're going to go for the thrills, the more expensive thrills this time around. However, a lot of that bigger budget does hurt the film because, number one, it really is a slow start, a very slow start to the movie. But when the action does kick up, you do find yourself really enjoying it.
Again, with the subplots, that's definitely one of the biggest takeaways that I would say is going to be a negative for some people. But for me, if they would have kept the focus more onto the main plot of the storyline, and you are right, this is a film that's basically cut in half. The first half of it kind of drags on a little bit. The second half is really when it ranges itself up and really just becomes a very, very good action film.
Yeah. So score this thing.
Overall, when you take away the fact that this is really a tale of 2 movies put together, where one of them is more about Denzel trying to be this father figure and kind of correcting the small mistakes or the mistakes that happen in the everyday life of people, versus this huge action revenge plot movie, I'd probably give this movie overall a 7 out of 10.
Generous.
I am a little generous.
Pretty generous.
What would you score this film?
For me, I'm going to say, going back to my comment about sequelitis, sometimes you'll get the sequel to the original movie that's actually better than the original movie, or the other way around, to which the original movie is better than the sequel. And in this case, the original movie is better than the sequel. So I'm going to go ahead and give Equalizer 2 a 5 out of 10.
Thank you for watching. For more Reel It Back, please make sure you click the subscribe button somewhere in the browser here.
Over there?
I think you're right, yeah.
And for more Jay and Dave, check out the Back to the Classics podcast on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and iTunes.